welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Sarah Gordon, I'm an osteopath from Harrogate.
And I'm John Brewster, an osteopath from Keighley.
Today we're going to talk about shoulder problems.
What we're going to talk about mainly is to do with shoulder pain. Not really involving the shoulder blade, that may be associated slightly, but your main pain is in the shoulder itself. Either locally and deep-seated, maybe a slight radiation down the arm a smidge, and maybe even concerning a bit of vague pins and needles in the hand or tips of the finger. But we're talking about the shoulder. Often, as I say, worse when you lay on that side, and there may be even some clicking and grating in the shoulder when it moves as well. So the way to control the inflammation is if we do some cold applications.
Yep, so in our other videos we've talked about putting hot and cold on a sore joint, say the knee or your low back, but with the shoulder it tends to respond a bit better by just doing cold packs followed by a little period of time where it heats up. So maybe 3 to 5 minutes cold, then a bit of a gap for 3 to 5 minutes, then 3 to 5 minutes cold again, and then keep going. So it's more like cold gap, cold gap, cold gap. And you might want to do that for about 25 minutes in total, with 3 or 4 cold packs and then 3 or 4 gaps.
So once you've done that, then maybe after that, because it's quite deep underneath quite a bit of bone, you can get some anti-inflammatory gel, work it well into just where the arm joins the shoulder and the 2 bits of bone meet there. That gap there, work that well into the area around the side, front of the shoulder for about 5 minutes and work the gel in there well. So that's the outside in, maybe some paracetamol from inside out. And of course the anti-inflammatory stuff, just be mindful you're okay with the ibuprofen and things, that you're not contraindicated in that way we've spoken about before. Also homeopathic wise, you can take the arnica, rustox and rutagrave. You can take those as separate tablets or together as one tablet from Helios Laboratories or Boots the chemist, and take those from inside out as well to help ease the shoulder pain. And then for exercises.
Yeah, so a good basic exercise once you have got the pain slightly more under control, because generally it's better to keep joints moving. If you splint them and hold them and don't move them at all, they tend to get more irritated. So an exercise basically when you move your arm around in space, that's quite a long lever and it's a lot of pressure on the shoulder joint. Whereas if you put your hands on your shoulders and move them around slowly in smaller circles, it's a lot less to ask the shoulder to do. So sometimes this short lever technique is quite a good starting point for the shoulder. And also if you've hurt, say, your right shoulder, often the left one is still in good nick. So if you move both shoulders at the same time, it kind of helps the good shoulder reminds the bad shoulder what it needs to do. So sometimes doing both shoulders at the same time, like that, very gentle, repeats maybe 10 circles one way, 10 the other way, and just do that 2 or 3 times during the day, just to keep that joint moving a little bit.
The other one which is quite good as well is just to stand, let the arm droop down gently and stir the pot, and this can be to whatever size is appropriate, so you don't work into pain. In a pain-free range, you stir the pot in a clockwise and counterclockwise direction, again for about 30 seconds to a minute each direction, and just keep on changing for 3 to 4 changes, and then maybe back to another exercise.
And you can actually also hold something, a small weight like a can of baked beans or can of tomatoes, just to help have the traction on the shoulder joint. Forgotten about that can of beans exercise, so that's another good one. So if you feel you can get a little bit more movement through the shoulder, another exercise is trying to free up the joint here where the humerus comes into the glenoid cavity. So basically you want to be moving the shoulder itself up and down a bit more, but keeping the shoulder blade, the scapula, on your rib cage. Just to point out that the shoulder, if you move your arms up like that, that's quite challenging, and if you move your arms out to the side, that's quite challenging. But this middle section, which is a bit like you were saying hallelujah, is a lot easier for the shoulder joint just because of the anatomy of it. So actually moving up like that is a good way of stretching the shoulder joint. And if you use something light like this is a broom handle or a garden cane if you're doing a lot of gardening at the moment. If you use something like that, that will also help you get the movement, because it sort of reinforces the good shoulder movement into the bad shoulder. So if you lie down on a bed or the floor, gravity also helps you. So again, you have your thumbs up in the air, have your arms quite wide, and just lift the pole up and over your head if you can. Now, if you find it hard to go all the way backwards, you could put some pillows above you so that you can rest your hands, say, in this position, so it's not going too far over your head. And if you hold that stretched position with your arms up over your head for a while, it actually allows the fascia around the shoulder joint to let go, which helps loosen everything and helps free up your muscles around the shoulder that might be tight because of the pain.
When you have shoulder pain, one of the unfortunate reflexes is that with shoulder pain, your muscles that control the shoulder blade and how the shoulder is set get switched off. So the most important area is to try and be mindful of working the shoulders and keeping them well retracted, and exercise to try and hold those shoulders back, almost like you're trying to push one shoulder blade into the opposite back pocket, and the other shoulder into the other back pocket. So you're getting a diagonal switch and push down to keep those shoulder blades well held back, and the muscles that operate that keep them mindful of what their job is.
Yep. And the other exercise we were going to discuss was the eye surrender stretch.
Yep.
So also with your shoulders, again, to loosen off the front of the chest. If you have something like this at home, so this is a foam roller that again I sell in my practice. It's from a company called Sissel, who are fabulous, but you could make something similar by rolling up a yoga mat or a towel. I even had a patient once who had a spare bit of drain pipe and covered it in a bit of carpet, and that worked very well for him. But anyway, I'd put that on the floor. If you sit on one end of it, and then you need to have your head supported as well, like that. And then if you literally let your arms drop out to the side, wherever they're comfortable, and then hold that position for a while, that will again help open up the shoulder girdle. So you could have your arms down here, you might find that relaxing. You might find it better there, you might find it higher up. I think lower down suits me. And again, if you hold that position for say 5 minutes, it's really good for opening up the whole of the front of the chest and allowing the shoulder to relax. So just to summarize our shoulder video.
What we try to make sure of is we're talking about the shoulder pain, not shoulder blade pain. The primary problem is in the shoulder, not the shoulder blade. So that's what we're looking at today. And we've talked about the idea of approaches to calm the pain down by applications and influences from outside in, and medication to take from inside out.
So cold therapy, paracetamol, arnica.
Yeah. And ibuprofen gel or IV gel or something of that nature to work into the shoulder.
Yep.
Then we've gone on some easy, comfortable exercise to
very basic ones.
That's it, to calm it down.
Like that.
Stir in the pot.
Using a pole to lift up and open out the joint, and also lying on a foam roller to stretch out the top of the chest. And
also just to make sure, as we get to be mindful of working the right muscles. The muscles which often are inhibited by shoulder pain are the muscles which hold the shoulder well back. And we talked about the idea of how to work those. And as the pain gets better, keep on working and developing more strength in those muscles by adding some resistance in, by perhaps some TheraBand or some elastic attached to a coat hanger to pull back against, to develop that strength in the muscles at the back of the shoulder.
Obviously, in an ideal world, we'd rather treat you
hands-on.
But at the moment, these are things you can do for yourself while you're at home to hopefully improve the pain, reduce the pain, and improve the movement in your shoulder. Thanks very much for watching.